We've got three gentlemen talking about the future of recruitment. I guess, why did you decide to start your own agency, mate? Where did that all come from?
So I've always been ambitious and wanted to do something myself and go out there and have a bit of a crack as well. But I was at a really good company that had a great culture, probably about 40, 50 people in there. But over the last 6 months I was there, they literally came to me one morning and just said, we're cutting all the commission structures. Used to be a 20% on whatever you build. They said we're moving to a gift card model, $200 a month, mate, from say 30, 40, 50 a year to that was just like, geez, what's happened here? I ended up listening to that client, did a roll and got a $70,000 letter from a solicitor they wanted to sue me for anyway. It was 3 weeks into the business, which...
What happened to that? Hello and welcome back to another episode of Two Blokes, One Business with Adam Powell, Harvey Rivers, and we've got a special guest today, and I didn't really want to be left out, so now I feel quite comfortable.
The look on my face when you walked in just then with this bold cap on, you would be horrible if you had hair follicle problems.
I think it's the beard, hey? I think you need to grow.
I think you do, yeah. My wife, if I shave it off like that as well, she won't touch me for 2 weeks. It's done. It's like, if I'm time to myself, that's what I do, get the Mac 3 out.
Yeah.
Away we go.
Yeah. And the bloke who won't be touched by his missus, his name's Rhyley Hunter.
it's not Johnny Sins. Yeah, but me and Ads on these episodes, we dig into a lot of recruitment, motivation, stuff like that. So Rhyley's been in the game with his agency, Huntsman, for just over 10 years now, is it, mate?
10 in July.
10 in July.
So coming up, yeah.
So we're hoping there's a fair few war stories along the way that he can share with us. But before we dig in, we like a little catch-up on these, don't we, mate?
We do. What's been going on, mate? Last few weeks, we've been busy, that's for sure. So we've got the Bucks coming up. I don't really like talking about this stuff,
You've got to wear that to it too.
Every week we do this catch up, and I'm like, Bucks, and he's just like, no, we're not talking about it. We're not talking. What,
nervous?
Yeah, nervous because I know Harvey. If you know Harvey as you do, he's a fucking pest, and he's got the 3 outfits sorted. Yeah. So all I get every day is, oh yeah, you're gonna look nice in this one.
I think that's the least of your worries, mate, from what he's told me.
But he made the mistake. I think it was maybe 7 or 8 months ago when we were planning the location for the Bucks. This was before it was all booked, and me and Ads are driving to Brizzy for some client meetings at 6 a.m. He just turns to me randomly and goes, yeah, I'm not too keen for any outfits and that on the Bucks. And I just started laughing and turned to him. I'm like, you silly boy.
Especially with Team U these days, you can have one an hour.
Kit it out.
You never know what's coming.
My saving grace here is I'd imagine that when Harvey finally gets to knee dirty, I'm going to be his best man and I'll be organising his Bucks, so I can just absolute 10x whatever pain I get inflicted on me.
Yeah, that's fair. I reckon you're already in his head about that too. I can tell.
A little teaser, there is a size of US 11.5 high heels currently on their way to my house.
11.5?
Yeah.
Big
and
boy.
then also adds
big feet.
Also adds his Bucks outfits are coming as well.
So that's the Bucks. That's in a couple of weeks, which is going to be mental. So be out of action for it.
So that's only 2 or 3 weeks away?
Yes.
4.
Depending on what time this
4
goes
today.
out.
Yeah, good.
On the day of filming.
Yeah. Anyway, back to the more important stuff. Then we got Byron, end of financial year trip with the team. We did this last year where we were so new to growing the team. It was actually some people's first day with us in the company. So this year I'm a bit more relaxed with it. I think we know what we are now. We know what we're about. We've got a bit of a better schedule of what we want to achieve out the 2 days, but the house is a joke, eh?
Yeah, it's a really, really smart house. It's going to be good. We're going to get loads of content, fair bit planned with strategy, getting the team ready for a year. It'd just be nice to slow down a little bit, I think, mate. It's been nearly a 2-year sprint. We had our official 2-year birthday last week, which I forgot about. And Gloria from Ex-Recruiter bowled in the office with a cake. Happy birthday. And I'm looking around going, whose birthday is it? And she goes, yours. I'm like, it's not. It's November. And she was like, no, Harwell's. I was like, fuck. Completely forgot.
Does it feel like a lot longer?
Yeah, it does. But also a lot shorter as well. You know, it's one of those weird ones where
strange.
It's been direct. It feels like it's been my whole life, but it's been so quick. Literally feels like yesterday we were sat in the kitchen table or with a whiteboard out, writing out the road to $1 million.
Yeah.
You know, which is cool.
I think that's why it's so important though, too, which I didn't do too much of until probably the last 2 years, but like really reflect on what's happened. Like if you're doing that even weekly or quarterly, especially, but like you're about to do now, like in Byron anyway, I think it's just, it's pretty magic to be able to look back and be like, holy shit, like look what we've done in 2 years. And again, like we said this morning, like 6 years time, it'll be even crazier to look back on and see where you're at.
Massively.
Yeah, we don't even know where it'll be in 6 years. Don't even know if we'll be here.
You got to get back from Vegas first.
Yeah, we do. And the last one, the big man Rhyley. I think he's been mentioned a fair few times on this podcast because we get out on the nice runs in the morning, and I've roped him into a last minute marathon ticket. So I think it was Monday night. I was on Insta and I've seen a couple of mara tickets up for sale. So I just kind of sent some cheeky messages going, I might know a couple of guys. And then Tuesday morning, we're going out for a run with Jakey and Callan. And I've just dropped it early on in the run. Oh, there's a couple of mara tickets up for grabs.
It's 4:45.
Yeah. And the boys are just like stewing on it. And then Jakey's just gone nuts on the line. He's gone, I'll do it if Riley does it.
Oh, that's the worst guy. Worst guy.
And I'm like going, You're not a soft cock, are you, mate?
And well, Jakey's only really just started. Like he's been running sort of with me in January since January, but hasn't really done any big Ks or anything anyway. Like hasn't done over maybe 15, or he said he did 17, but that's suspect. His Strava, his fucking watch died. Hold on, mate.
Yeah.
Did that really happen? Yeah. No, I'm stirring you up, Jakey. But yeah, for him to just commit like that, like with no, real distance in it. Yeah.
2 weeks away?
3.
6th of June.
Yeah, 6th of June.
6th of July.
6th of July, hopefully.
July, sorry.
Sorry, lads, you might miss the boat this time.
Time travelling.
All right, we got more time than we thought.
It was a good race.
Yeah, I did as well.
Yeah, 6th of July anyway.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's going to be interesting. The boys, we've got Burley Town Hotel booked in after. Should be a crew of about 30 for celebratory beers.
Yeah, look out.
Yeah, if you don't finish it, you can't come. That's fair, isn't it?
Yeah, you tell him.
No, it'd be good on the day just to dial in. And it's funny though, like I looked back, I said to Jake only yesterday, I was looking back through the Swish stuff from January, the boot camp, and it was locking out your 12-month goals. And my first one on there was to run a marathon. And I sort of knew it was in the back there just churning around, but I was like, you know what, I'll just leave that on that page for a while. But no, I think it'd be perfect time to do it. Like I think I've done enough anyway, so it'd be good. Give Halves a run for his money on the day.
I'd love it if you beat him. I would be so happy. That'd be incredible.
I can't do that. I reckon even if we ran at the same time, like at the same pace, got to the end there, one of us would have to like put the fucking head over.
Just go, look at that over there.
Sorry, it will. It'll be really good.
Let's dive into serious business. So today we've got 3 gentlemen talking about the future of recruitment, where it's going, what it's going to look like, what's going to change, what won't change as well, which is important too. Between us, how many years experience do you reckon we've got? I'm trying to sell this a little bit, so we've got a bit of credibility. How many have you got?
15.
All right, perfect. So we've got about 16 of them.
16.
Yeah, I reckon we're pushing good 25, that's a good number. We've got a lot of credibility already. Tell you what, I'm going to take this fucking bulb off.
I was like, please take it. I can't look at you.
Nah, get it back on.
This is a serious pod.
I might wear it for a bit.
3 ball blokes. It's getting too hot in here.
But before we kick in, for context then, Rhyley, so you run Huntsman Recruitment.
Yeah.
I guess, why did you decide to start your own agency, mate? Where did that all come from?
Well, full honesty, so I've always like been ambitious and wanted to like do something myself and go out there and have a bit of a crack as well. But I was at a really good company that had a great culture. There's probably about 40, 50 people in there.
Oh, wow.
I had 3, maybe 4 years with them. But over the last 6 months I was there, they literally came to me one morning and just said, we're cutting all the commission structures, like boom, overnight. Used to be a 20% on whatever you build. So it was a good structure anyway, and there was no thresholds or anything. So we're sort of cleaning up and doing well, even though it was 8% fees back then.
Yeah.
And yeah, from there I was like, there was no consultation around it. And that's why I'm very, very mindful when I make any changes within our business now, that it's it's very transparent. Everyone knows what's happening when the lead up to it. It's not just this like bang, the decision's been made. But yeah, so basically they did that. they said we're moving to a gift card model, which I just thought was
Tax
wild.
write-off.
Like, yeah, $200 a month, mate. Like, from, earning, say, 30, 40, 50 a year to that was just like, geez, what's happened here? And they'd combined with another few companies. So, and again, looking back now, I'm like, I still don't understand that decision that they made anyway. But looking back, like I was pretty naive to how a business was ran, and I used to take the mickey out of some of their decisions and, talk shit, I guess, behind their back to other staff members, all that sort of jazz anyway, where now I look back on that and like, wow, that was just very amateurish of me, or again, naive. Like, so I can definitely, as a business owner, as you guys know, there's a lot of decisions to be made. They're not made lightly either, and they might, the team might see it a week out, but this has been 3 or 6 months in the making of you guys thinking about it and talking about it, trying to, determine the impact on the team, the individual, the business, like absolutely everything. So, yeah, so when that happened, I remember sort of going home thinking like, I think now's my time. Like, I'm going to have a bit of a crack. And I think 3 months before that, though, I was in Thailand and I read Jack Delos's book, Unprofessional. It was his first ever book. Have you read that?
No, I haven't.
No.
I haven't revisited it since, but I remember even in that, like when I was sitting there relaxing, reading that, going, shit, I could do that. Like, I could back myself and understand this. I think from there, I just started really understanding the numbers, doing little, budgets in my own head and trying to work things out. And then timing wise, would have been a week later, I went to my auntie and uncle's house for like a Sunday lunch. And he'd owned a business for 20 years, like a gym in Wagga, and sort of a real, just a go-getter type guy, like no bullshit, just go straight to the point. And I was telling him, and he's like, you got to do it. Do it now. Like, start it. He goes, have you heard of that Fiverr.com? I was like, I don't know if it's still going now. It's like for $5, you get a graphic designer or like whatever, like freelance sort of site. And he's just like gone mad, got his iPad out. He's like, no, we're doing a logo now. Like, what's your business going to be called? And da-da-da-da. And I was like, fuck, calm down a little bit. He's like, no, you've got to do it. Like, back it. And that was that conversation like I told you guys about the business partner this morning. And then, literally went home with that, the idea, started planning things, and it would have been 6 months later I went in and resigned, and here I am.
How good's that? I love that. There's always one person who gives you either the nudge or the gentle push, depending on how much you need, to give you the belief. I know for us, we had a few people, but the one that comes to mind was Geordie Williams. He went and picked his brain over lunch or breakfast, whatever it was, and kind of said, we're at this big corporate, we want to start our own thing, but we want to do it probably in a year's time because we want to build up some money. He's like, boys, just fucking do it. And then when we kind of go, no, but what? You'd be like, lads, seriously, just do it. And now it's easy advice that we give to other people. They go, all these ifs and buts and maybes and why I should and shouldn't do it. Seriously, just do it. You figure everything out along the way until you have that level of commitment in your own brain. You'll just keep finding reasons not to and not to and not to.
Yeah.
Do you remember, I'm trying to think for people listening to this, a lot of people that are listening might be early on in their entrepreneurial journey or even sat on a career that they don't like and they want to make a change or go out on their own. What was your kind of mindset or your rationale in making that decision at the time?
I was pretty logical about it as well. So I was just, it was really to me going, I had to weigh it all up going, well, this is what I've got, like, bird in the hand over here, and I can continue on this path and probably progress throughout the business, or I can back myself and get the right sort of people around me and have a bit of a crack. So I sort of that was the way I sort of looked at it then. I just weighed it all out. I looked at worst case scenarios if I went out there and got 3 attempts on in the whole year. If I only, build, 50 grand, what does that mean? So I really looked at it. To me, it was like I always do that with any decision. I just go to worst case scenario. And it might sound bad. And even other businesses that I've looked into in the past, even a few years ago, there was one with 2 other people, and we looked into that, got into sort of the final stages, and I was probably heavily more like negative on the way we were thinking about it and looking at finances and budgets. I remember one was like, why have you got to be negative about it? Like, and I was like, well, it's not. It's like about as soon as I pull the trigger on and make that decision, though, it'll flip, and I'll be as excited as anything. Like, a little Labrador just like running after it, and that's it. That's the direction. But before that, I'm really, again, logical about it, and I'll think through every worst case scenario, which can be a good and bad thing. Obviously, at some point, you need to make that decision. But I think for me, it was just the mindset of, you know what, I can always go back into that. Sure. And I've always had this belief, I think, in the back of my mind. I say this to Katie and stuff all the time, that whatever I do, I'll make something of it. Like, I'll make it work. Even in this situation now with recruitment, where our business is at, like if everything went belly up, I'd find something else. If it's like to buy a trailer and a lawnmower and a whippersnipper and start there, if I can have a Jim's mower. It's like, do you know what I mean? Like,
I love that.
That's a big call.
Yeah.
But do you know what I mean? You'd start off just slow doing something, you'd rip back into it, or you'd find another career, or you'd land back into a job with a haze in a management. There's always something there. So I think that's what, for me, it was there's always a fallback plan, but you just got to go full steam ahead.
We always talk about that with the decisions we make. We use the term a release valve. So we're like, when there's a decision, okay, this is the great outcome. This is what it could do for the business and for us. But what's the release valve if this does go wrong? At what point can we call it quits? And whether that's time or money, whatever we lose, are we comfortable with that?
Yeah.
And if the answer is yes, and the positives are enough, then you need to make that decision. And that's exactly how we decided to leave our last employer. We looked at, I think, the last full calendar year we were with them. Me and Ads billed 1.3 mil between us. And the fraction or the portion of that we'd actually earned was tiny. And we were like, okay, so to earn the same money, we need to fill, I think it was 25% of the jobs that we had the previous year.
Yeah.
And you start looking at the clients you think that would come with you. Can we fill 25% of the jobs? Because if we can, we can pay ourselves the same money as what we're on, but we're doing it for ourselves with the flexibility, probably the fun, the passion. And the answer was yes. And as you said, the worst case scenario is it didn't work, and we go and work for some people that other people we knew in the industry at the time. We're just like, why not? But I know so many people don't come to that decision. And where we're sat now, 2 years later, I dread to think if we hadn't made that decision, how different life could be. And I wonder how many other people are still in an accounting job, are still in a lawyer's job, but have had this idea where they might be if they'd have just had the courage 5 years ago to pull the trigger.
And I think it comes back to, like you said, you need someone to give you that nudge. That's why, I'm a huge believer in it. We don't need it, but it definitely helps. Like if you've got somebody, you go into a meeting and someone that you trust and respect as well, and just gives you that confidence, and that allows you to just spread your wings and go for it. And again, that's what I had with my uncle. And that's why I love, looking back now on the last 10 years, is coaches, having the right people in your corner. I wish I did that more. Even I had Ross Clennett sort of come on board with me 2 years ago, and I've had 10 years of change in 2 years, with our business, which obviously we're going to talk through after this as well. But having the right coaches and people that can just, because a lot of it, you already know it all yourself. You just need someone to be able to bring you back to your own power and your own presence, and understand that, I can back myself and I can get it done. So, and you guys are a perfect example.
In terms of being that person for someone else, this is probably one of the most fulfilling things I've grown into over the last 2 years. Is we've learned a lot, we've made a few mistakes, and we've grown and developed individually. And now people who might be where we were 2-3 years ago, giving them the confidence and the courage. Like my partner, Maddie, for example, we're building out an e-commerce business, which is going to be awesome. And she has, the ups and downs of confidence, and let's go and take on the world. And then it goes, actually, maybe I should stick to teaching. Maybe this life isn't for me.
Yeah.
And just having the belief and the trust and the confidence to go, no, this is for you. This is just a downtime. Come out the other side. And then seeing them come out the other side, and the energy and the enthusiasm and the progression they have then, that's so cool.
Yeah. Unreal. Yeah. And that's exactly, I see myself going down that path. I definitely will. Again, that's just where I feel completely fulfilled. And I think there's just so many sort of different experiences I've had in my life where I can sort of walk into any room. And again, it might sound arrogant or cocky, I feel like I can make a bit of a difference somewhere, in one little area. It doesn't matter what business it is or what someone's going through. I'll be able to sort of impart something from what I've been through to give them that nudge or that bit of confidence to go out there and do it. But mate, that's perfect. Like you said, with your fiance, to be able to push her in that right direction as well, and then be able to look back and then just be like, shit, if you're the one who gave me that nudge.
Special,
it's wild. Yeah.
I can't remember which podcast guest said this, but because business, it's really tough. You get it right, it's incredible. What it can give you is amazing. But there are some real tough and real heavy times. But it was one of our guests, they said that going into business and entrepreneurship was one of the most fulfilling but transformative experience they've ever had in their life. And I think it doesn't just make you better at business, it makes you so much better as a partner, a dad, a friend, a mentor, whatever it might be. It's just, it's been incredible, isn't it? And we're only 2 years in.
Well, yeah, it's the lessons, I think. When you're doing it in your own business, like you make a mistake, it could be 20 grand, 30, 40 grand or more. Like, so you learn very, very quickly, and you've got to reflect on that pretty well straight away that day and be like, I'm never going to do that again, or I'm going to do more of this or whatever it is. But I think it's the best like university that you can, get enrolled in.
School of life, innit? That's what I love.
That's where I went.
It is like, that's, mate, I've got a cert for in business. And that's basically it. But everything else is, and I think if you're even thinking about a business, like you've obviously got something sort of in you, like you say, like a bit of the dog. And, you've got that there anyway. So it's just tapping into it. And then, you got to go through all that. And then it's backing yourself. But eventually, and I think that's the best thing about coaching, it's about finding your own voice and that own, when you wake up in the morning, to be able to flick that switch yourself and be able to, I guess, coach or self-soothe yourself. You can be that person for you, so you're not relying on a coach. But everyone needs someone like that in their corner to be able to show them what's possible.
I love it. Well, let's dive into the nitty-gritty. I've got a few key topics that I've prepped all by myself. And the first one, I think, is really relevant for us three in particular. And this is kind of how I first saw your face, Rhyley. I can't remember the video itself, but it was...
you do. You've got a screenshot.
It was a video of you, I want to say talking about a job maybe. I think it was bigger and better than that. Back when you were in Wagga still. So it would have been about 18 months ago. And it was class. It was like a movie production level kind of bit of content. So personal branding.
The accountant video, was it?
Yeah.
And the river.
Yes, the river. That was the one.
Yeah. No,
incredible.
Yeah.
So personal branding, how important has that been for you and the journey that you've been on with Huntsman, and why? One, why do you do it, and why do you feel it's had the impact it has?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think first, to wind it back, I remember it would have been over 10 years ago, like when I first started using LinkedIn, and it was like pretty new back then as well. And I started posting a few things, and people in that business I used to work for would take the piss and be like, look what you're doing. Like, I can have a look at Rhyley over here, look what Hunter's doing, da-da-da-da. And it'll all take the piss. And I'll be like, right, we'll just see what happens here then.
Nice.
And then now it's been like mine, I don't know how much money I would have made on connections. And even this, like sitting here now, this all started from LinkedIn. Or like, those little messages back and forth 18 months ago to, going for a run to now sitting here now. It's just wild to see where platforms like that can take you. And I think if you are being really authentic on there as well and just being yourself, and that's the hard part, I think at the start, everyone is wearing a bit of a mask. And I don't know, even now, like even in this and podcast, like you're a little bit different on here. Or for me, I can't speak for you guys. Like I'll try and be a little bit better. Like, still, I don't know. So I'm like, no, just fucking be yourself. Like, don't worry about anything else. You don't need to be anyone else. It's just, this is where the gold is. But I think coming back to that and trying to be as authentic as possible online. And then you don't have this, that situation come up again where you've got to be, people actually meet you and you're different to who they see online. So I think that's the best thing. And then you can walk around, you're being yourself. It becomes like easy and second nature. But it is a hard thing initially to put yourself out there on videos and stuff like that as well. But to me, the personal brand, I think that's, like you talked about the future of recruitment. And I think that's the future of pretty well every business is going to be having a really, really good personal brand, being authentic, transparent. People, what you see is what you get. And I think that's where like everyone's unique. Everyone's got their own story and things they bring to the table. So the more you can just portray that to the world, the more you'll attract the right people. And even what we do at Huntsman, or me personally, is like some people will be like, he's an absolute flog. Like, don't want to go near the bloke. Yeah. Which is absolutely fine.
Keeps following me on these runs.
Exactly. But do you know what I mean? But the people and the clients and the candidates and stuff that you should be working with will love that. And then it all sort of makes sense and marries up basically.
I think personal branding's huge, and it's probably been one of the main pillars of our success and how we've been able to grow so quickly. And we did a panel Q&A recently at XORS Mastermind, and a lot of the kind of questions that came our way were around personal branding and video content. And I think an example I gave is that recruitment is such an outdated industry in the way that we operate. It's heavily dominated, or has been until recently, by big global kind of faceless corporates. And now that's starting to shift. But I compared it to the real estate world. And in your local suburb, for example, you'd probably be able to tell me more likely the name of the agent that sells all the houses in your suburb quicker than you'd be able to tell me the real estate agency that he actually works for. So we tried to use that as an example of, yes, we want to create an awesome brand of Harwell and be the household name on the Gold Coast for recruitment, but we also want Katie to have her own personal brand as the e-commerce gun across Australia. So that's kind of why we've been pushing it, because people remember people. I think like 100%. Branson's got way more followers, than all of his business accounts. Same with Elon Musk. So if it's working at the top for them, people probably need to buy into it a little bit more.
And it's so true. And it's a bit of a scary thing with, I think, as a business owner and building a team out as well, where everyone will have their own personal brands, and that's what your whole business will be. Sort of, you piggyback off each other to a certain extent. But then when they go, you're like, shit, what does that mean for us? But that's where I think the ownership is still comes back onto us as business owners as well, to make sure that you're getting around the clients. You've got these systems and stuff in place so that you're not too far removed from all of that sort of stuff as well. And so that if people do leave and take their own personal brand and whatnot, like obviously there will be some things will just, come out in the wash from that as well. But you're not going to be in such a predicament where, their whole client base is gone, which, your previous employer might have experienced anyway.
No comment.
But you know what I mean? Like that is basically what happened with me as well, like to a certain extent. Like there was non-competes and stuff like that as well. But then clients were coming over saying, well, we want to work for you. It's not in your contract to say that we can't approach you, man. Like you're shooting yourself in the foot. And I ended up listening to that client, did a role and got a $70,000 letter from a solicitor they wanted to sue me for. Anyway, it was 3 weeks into the business, which...
what happened with that?
It floored me, mate. I went home and, to be honest, I smoked myself into a coma for the day. And that was it. I regrouped the next day.
We go again.
That's another story in itself. But basically it floored me. I was just like, wow, I'm done already. Like, I'm out. Like, I can't afford that. And like, I remember even at the time I got onto a family friend who was a solicitor. They still charged me $250 to write a letter, but $250 like back then was
$1,000.
Yeah, 100%. So I was just like, holy shit, like I'm behind the 8 ball now with that as well. Nothing came of it. It was all rubbish, just intimidation basically anyway, but it worked. It definitely put me off for a month or so while that was going on. But yeah, nothing came of it anyway. But again, it just goes back to, we digress.
I'm still chuckling here. I just went home and smoked myself into a coma.
That was my coping mechanism back in the day. So, a lot of things have changed since then anyway, for the better. But yeah.
What about the judgment side of putting your personal brand out there? Because as you mentioned, there's nowhere to hide. If people are wanting to use Huntsman, it's because of Rhyley Hunter and the way he comes across. But then people obviously at the same time go, actually, I'm not working with Rhyley, with Harwell, because they genuinely know who is running the business, and there's no mask to go off. So how do you get over that fear of judgment, the imposter syndrome of who the fuck am I to do a video on LinkedIn? No one wants to hear from me. What were some of the things you did to get over that?
Just arrogance.
Yeah. Perfect.
No, I think, again, it just comes with time. The more you put yourself out there, like at the start, it was definitely a huge mask on. And I was trying to be someone else who I wasn't. And again, I think that even when you're doing that, though, it feeds into that imposter syndrome. Like, I definitely suffer from a lot of that, like all the time. Even like since you reached out last Thursday or Friday saying, do you want to come on the pod while you're here? I was like straight away, just that feeling of like, shit, like who am I to be on a pod?
True,
like, it
really?
happens every time.
Yeah, wow.
Every time. Which I still, need to process through and work on. And obviously it's something needs to, get to the bottom of as well. But I still feel like, 10 years in the game that I don't know it all. And like, who am I to tell someone about the future of recruitment or whatever's going on? Because I think the journey just goes so quick, like you said about your 2 years, guys, already. And to me, I'm like, shit, I can't even remember. Like, it's been a wild ride. Like, and I think you're in the thick of it, day in, day out, that it can just get like that anyway. But yeah, I think with personal brand though, I've started more and more coming into my own and sharing a lot of things. And they even I joked about that smoking thing anyway, but that was felt like I was completely addicted to weed there for probably 7 years, which became a huge problem and led to panic attacks and all the rest of it. And then sort of went cold turkey and then went down that self-development and coaching sort of path as well. But, I've been thinking more and more about sharing that story in its entirety as well, and all in the fact of helping someone else that would be potentially in that situation now, and just thinking there's no way out and I can't stop and all that sort of jazz anyway. So that's where I love that authenticity on places like LinkedIn or Instagram, where, people can just relate to you then, I think anyway. And they're the main people that I follow and love are people that are sharing their, warts and all stories, haven't had warts. But don't touch wood.
Yeah, you're not watching this on the video.
But do you know what I mean? You guys probably do feel the same when you look at someone who is...
You build trust.
Yeah.
I think the trust is massive because they're sharing everything and not just showing it the highlight reel, which is important. What about you, Harvs? Because for us, I had to kind of bring out the competitive spirit to get the videos going. For us, it was let's do one a day and we'll see how we go. And it works really well. So that was then easy to continue going because we saw the tangible impact of doing these videos.
As in you compete with, you set up, let's compete with each other, who can do...
Yeah, we did one a day, had to do one a day for the week. If you didn't, the other one who didn't do, had to wash the other person's car.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for Harvey, missed the Thursday and tried to slide under the radar, the cheeky bugger.
Did he do a good job?
Yeah. Which was just another video, wasn't it? I'm in the car wash washing his car. And
really?
He's video.
So it wasn't budgie smugglers or anything.
No.
It should have been.
No, I wouldn't pull that off, mate.
But how did you go in terms of getting over that fear of judgment, content anxiety even? Do I really have to post today, and that discipline?
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Two Blokes, One Business podcast.
Now, apart from being world-class podcasters, we also run a recruitment agency called Harwell.
If you're keen to learn a little bit more about what we do, then head over to our Instagram at Harwell Group and check us out.
Back to the app.
It was tough. I remember when we went out on our own, you had way more experience than me and in truth had performed way better. As it adds as billings and kind of reputation in the game. So I kind of felt like I was leaning on him a little bit I'll be all right because ads is solid. And I think a lot of people in our previous employer probably had those conversations well, Adam's good, but Harv's been doing this for 2 years and only a year in his sector. Who does he think he is? So putting yourself out there makes you a lot more accessible to those people. So it's difficult. I think having someone to kind of go up against really, really does help because it's that accountability piece, which helped for sure. But with the imposter syndrome, I just took it on board and just understood. And now I know that it's never going to go away. Yeah. Imposter syndrome will never, ever, ever go away because once you get comfortable with doing the content of the videos on LinkedIn, we then started thinking, shit, should we start a podcast? And then, a little bit like you saying you're coming on here, we're like, fucking hell, we're not even a year into business and we're going to do a podcast talking about business. We know nothing, but you then do that and you're comfortable and then you start building a team. And now we're like, shit, these people work for us. And that's a new level of imposter syndrome.
Yeah. But I think like you said, it is one of those things that probably never really goes away as well. But I think you realise more and more that no one knows what they're doing. Even the CEOs you're talking to, all that sort of jazz as well, they're all still learning the same. It's the same thing. They're learning every day. New problems come up, new technology comes in. Everyone's still like, shit, what's next? And trying their best to get a handle of it as well. So, I don't think any of us are alone there as well. And I think once you realise that, you can sort of surrender to it a little bit and just relax into it. And that definitely has helped me in the past.
Just humanising people, I think, is important.
Yeah,
it's easy to look at a big CEO or a CFO and his fancy title, and then put them on a massive pedestal, which, in one respect, they deserve to be. They've done great in their career, but they're still, shit in the toilet. Still,
that's the thing I laugh about. I got 10 years with Huntsman as well. And you might have a title as managing director or something, and then someone who's 20 who'd be meeting me would probably be like, oh shit, what's it going to be like being nervous? I'm like, fucking, I'm the least person you should be nervous about. Come on,
you're more nervous than they are.
100%. Still, it's wild. Do you know what I mean? So, But I think like back to like the content stuff and LinkedIn as well. I did a course recently, which was good. I got a lot out of it, but then I think it's wild how people, I think you can put pressure on yourself to like, it's coming back to what you said about developing the content. Like, and you can put pressure on yourself to be like, oh, I need to generate 5 posts a week, this was the training. And to me straight away, I was like, I was just lost in that. I was like, I'm completely against that sort of thing. And I might be wrong. Like, but just to work an algorithm, there's no way I'm going to post 5 times a week and have it completely structured out, because then it becomes like, you're worried about what content you're going to write. And instead of just being creative and spontaneous in the spot, or something happens and you're like, shit, that could be worth sharing, you're trying to generate all this rubbish, which, again, even with the likes of ChatGPT, like, I don't like using that for the creative stuff. Definitely use it in the business as well, probably not to the extent that you guys do with, like, I've definitely started to try and level that up as much as possible with processes, systems, even like the map that we've been talking about, like really trying to go, what am I missing here? But in terms of content, that's where I think even that authenticity will come into it, and the future of recruitment or anything. I reckon it's going to be more longer form content like podcasts or longer videos or in-person stuff like we talked about this morning at coffee, where people can see there's no edits or cuts, or because you can portray whatever you want in a video if it's all edited nicely, like a condensed video that took you 50 minutes to make and 28 cuts and all that sort of stuff as well, and he completely, balls it up where it looks perfect in a minute video, and they're like, fucking hell, Adam and Hart, like, got his shit together. Like, how articulate is he? And da-da-da-da, where you're like, it's not fucking real.
Yeah.
Where like with this, you'll mince your words a bit, you'll go off on a tangent, you might forget something, but they get to see like who you are, the real deal. And it's going to be wild to see. Like, I read something this morning, Ross Clennett had a blog out, but talking about remote work and how, do you guys see it at all?
No, I missed it.
Talked about these deep fake AI candidates. So in North Korea, they're using different VPNs, and I don't know too much about that sort of world. Anyway, do you know what I mean? They're getting all this fake stuff as well to show that they're living in the Philippines or whatever, but they're North Korean. It's all deep fake stuff, the whole candidate to get the job.
Yeah.
Wow. And so I don't know what's going to happen. I think the word will I reckon it's going to all wind back and come back, and I think social media and that will go out the window a bit. And like you were saying this morning about like that client visit you did yesterday, it'll be more, shaking hands, seeing people in person. I think it will go back to that, which I bloody hope it does for our kids' sake. Like, that worries me.
Content on it really is the future, but I agree with what you say. I think it's the self-made content that really pumps. Like, one of my partner, Britt, her cousin, she's 21, 22 years old, owns a small lemonade business down in the Central Coast. Yeah. And she asked to go for a coffee to do a bit of kind of business strategy because she wants to grow. And I just said, to start with, do a 100-day challenge. Do a piece of content or a piece of video content on your Instagram every single day for 100 days. And she makes them all herself. It's like kind of TikTok style. I think her followers, she's not even finished the 100 days yet. Her followers have already gone up, I think, 100%.
Yeah, right.
And one of her videos has had over 2 million views now.
Jeez. Yeah, right.
So the power of just authentic content, quickly making it, showing her story along the way, has now put over 2 million eyes
that's
onto a small lemonade business in the Central Coast. Yeah. So when she does go, hey, I want to bottle this and try and stock in retailers, she needs distribution in terms of eyes on her product. She's got it there, ready-made.
100%. And I think especially with people like that, when you're starting out, that's when those challenges like you guys did can really help. Yeah. Because it just gets you out of your comfort zone anyway. And then you've done 100 pieces of video. Like Dan Martell talks about it too with his YouTube channel. That's what he started doing it and was doing it every day. He got 1,500 subscribers. He's like, what am I even doing this for? And then now he's got 1.5 million. And he goes, just from that, from starting. Like, so I think those sort of challenges can really help with that. And I just love that. If you see someone rip out their phone on an Instagram story, it can be rough and as raw as anything, but I'll relate more to that than something that's curated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think, with content, that's for me, I put time in my calendar now for like creative thinking, or to sit there or to meditate or go for a walk or something will come in a run or whatever. Like if you're watching a movie and you just get some kind of idea, and my notes are filled to the brim with fucking crazy things. But I think that's where you got to create that time to be able to come into yourself and relax. I think when you're trying to force a piece of content, or just my take, you can't do it, or I can't.
Yeah.
I challenge that a little bit because, and again, we're blessed. We've got Rosie, our marketing coordinator.
Yeah.
So what we have now is we kind of said, this is our content schedule, right? Monday, long form posts and then a graphic with text on. Tuesday, podcast snippet, by the way, and it goes on for the week, 2 pieces a day. And she'll come back with, say, 6 of those 10 might be her bits of content she sends to me. I'll do the other 4 and I'll schedule them all for the following week or 2. And that's been a breath of fresh air. So this week, the thing's going out consistently, and I just don't even have to worry about it because I'm similar. If I haven't posted that day and nothing scheduled in my own head, then I'm looking at the calendar going, well, fuck, I've got no time to do this as well. So then I either post so much shit and then feel shit because it's shit, or I don't post anything and then feel shit because I haven't posted anything.
Yeah.
So having her has been an absolute game changer for us. But having it scheduled just allows you to breathe. And I still post like random bits on top of that as well in the moment too.
Yeah. No, for sure. Like I agree, like having that scheduled out, like you got to make best use of your time. So I definitely still will schedule, like my posts are all locked and loaded. Then like it's scheduled into LinkedIn anyway, like when it's going to go out. But it's more the actual content thing. Like, and I might do it in a bulk thing where during that creative time, that's when I'll write out, like I'll sit there and have that time there, like the phone's gone and all that sort of stuff to just write and think and get it all out there. And then once that's done, they're all curated, scheduled out. You're not worried about posting it every day. 100%.
Yeah.
But no, what you guys have done, I think, with that, having someone in-house marketing-wise, like you can tell the difference.
Cool.
Like from what you were doing even 2 to 3 months ago, and just the consistency of it. Like,
that's the big one.
And for you guys to sit down, like this is content. That's all you need to do. You just did a podcast like this once a week. Bang, you've got a month worth of content or more.
Yeah.
And it all leads back, like, and I think that's where the future of recruitment is going as well. It's like recruitment's marketing, like Greg Savage has always said as well, like, and it truly is. And that's, again, where that personal brand comes in as well, and doing this sort of stuff too. Like, this is what's going to generate your, like, that's what's going to separate good recruiters from great ones is this sort of stuff. Like, who can generate the best forms of marketing consistently over a long period of time. That's going to be your lead funnel.
Yeah, that's it. Mate, I reckon we're on for a 2-parter here.
Yeah,
we're 45 minutes into the mix
we really?
already. Yeah. Wow. And we're on point number 2 out of about 7.
You can tell me to stop talking.
No, and I called Connor, the podcast guy, yesterday. I was like, brother, we're a bit behind on the episodes. If I get you one by lunchtime tomorrow, can we get it out for next Wednesday? He's like, yeah, man, we can make it work as long as it's like not over an hour.
Yeah, right.
I was like, yeah, no worries, man, done.
We'll talk to you guys, whatever you.
I reckon we'll part 2 it, but this one gets me going. This is the AI and automation.
Yeah.
I'm the self-proclaimed chief of AI at Harwell. Halves many other things in the business. So we're still dipping the toe in. I think there's levels to everything, right? I think in recruitment, we're probably in the top 10, 20% of people who are using AI and how we're using it and what we're trying to do. But we had a meeting with a fellow called Josh, who is literally an AI expert. I've had a 2-hour Teams call with him. He blew our brains with what is possible. And like,
We'll tell Rhyley off there. We don't want to give too many secrets away.
Well, it's just, it's incredible, mate. Like the speed of change as well. Right, 6 months ago, what he was showing us probably wasn't even real. And in 6 months' time, so one little tip he gave us, because he said, oh yeah, we've got this AI note taker. We're locked into a 12-month contract. He goes, mate, do not sign a 12-month anything for the next 10 years. Things move way too quick.
That is fair, isn't it?
He said even if you pay 20 to 30% more to go on a monthly recurring basis, he's like, that will be worth it, because by month 6, this platform that we have paid for 12 months, we might be parking that.
Yeah,
because the discussions we're having with him and the stack that he's going to build out for us might make it redundant.
Yeah,
that's a top tip.
And that in itself is going to be what sets people apart. Like, that's obviously the future. And you need to jump on board with it now as well. But I think that's where some of the bigger businesses might be able to push for, because they'll have the like the dollars to be able to throw, get an AI expert for $200,000 a year to sit within their business. Where smaller businesses like ourselves, like, you don't really have that, so you're going to have to pay an external consultant, or you jump on board and get someone in like that as well to do it. But it's going to be a huge differentiator, like, moving forward.
I'll probably challenge that as well. I think the big businesses are too slow. I don't think they can roll out that rate of change consistently.
Yeah,
like, we can implement something today, and in 6 weeks' time, something better comes. Great, improve, enhance every single time. Whereas when it's a national, global, business who have got hundreds of offices and little nuances of how things are done to try and roll that out. And then the change management piece.
Yeah, that's fair.
So we had a system in our old place, and then we brought out a kind of the second version of that. The change management process was crap, and no one ended up using the second one, which I spent billions and billions of dollars on around the world. So definitely they've got the money to do it, but I just don't think they've got the capacity to roll it out.
I completely agree. Like it is a really good point. Like they've got the coin there and the backing and all that sort of stuff as well. But to be able to have an instant change, where that's the best thing about these smaller agencies like we've got, you can roll it in overnight. But I think like if I rewind what I said then anyway, it's probably more like if you need the right people around you still, like even an AI or a tech consultant, like you're talking about with, what was his name? Josh. Like you need someone like that in your corner to be tapping into, if it's like once a quarter or something. And again, that's where your competitive advantage can be, is if you've got that, but then you're implementing it like, at a rapid rate. Well, shit. Like, and that's what, even with our business, I've always gone back to, like one of our values is complacency kills, like always be growing, always be learning. And it's like what got you here won't get you there, those sort of things as well. But always going, as soon as, marketing wise, we got to a really good point probably 6 or 7 years ago. We did everything, completely differently. And then we've sort of a lot of change the last 12 months that we've taken our foot off the gas with a little bit, which we're turning around again now. But the more you can get ahead of the pack like that as well, the harder it is for them to catch up.
Yep.
Like you can't, and if you're constantly like, in 12 months time, then you're like, nah, what's next? Let's go. Again, these other people are doing what you did 3 years ago now, and they're just looking to you to be like, you become that industry leader.
Yeah. I had a great conversation yesterday with a CEO of a leading Australian fashion brand. Really good meeting, talking mainly about recruitment, but as you do, we started speaking a little bit about AI. And I said to him, what does he see as the future? Because in my opinion, naturally my brain thinks, okay, at some point, the government are going to regulate use of AI in some certain areas to protect the human race in some sense. And he was like, yeah, they will try, but AI will be able to work out how to get around that. You'll be able to do a simple prompt in ChatGPT. Hey, how can I still use AI to navigate the current government laws around it? And that's where I had that penny drop of like, okay, this could be quite scary here, because it's such an intelligent system.
Yeah.
It can beat the human brain or human legislation we put in.
Yeah, 100%. What else are you seeing ads?
In the AI world? So AI agents. This is what's really getting me going at the moment, Rhyley.
Yeah, right.
So ChatGPT is kind of, you put your prompt in and you get some answers out, right? And that's kind of how it works. It's back and forth. You can do prompt sequencing, which is where you'd prompt one thing, it would give you the answer, which then use that to make the next prompt, which is great. But again,
that's what an agent does?
No, this is just ChatGPT at the moment.
Okay.
AI,
we have gone deep in the rabbit hole.
Yeah, I love it. Good.
So the AI agent actually kind of has its own brain, if you like, and will go and action a full workflow. So that would be, this is the client meeting, right? We've just finished the Teams call. We've got our note taker in here. Then the AI agent's going to take that note taker, create me a job brief. It's going to prep an email to send to the client, which it's going to send, which then it's going to give me a job ad to post on Seek or whatever. It's then going to give me 10 questions to ask candidates about. It's then going to tell me some stats about hiring trends.
And all your Harwell way.
Yeah,
Like,
and all the SOPs, all that process.
Yeah.
We're going to have to get Cons to cut this bit out.
Yeah. Giving away all the sauce.
It's great. And again, like you said, though, it will change in 3 months.
100%.
There'll be something else.
Yeah. That's what's getting us excited at the moment.
Yeah, right.
But I think
where do you get your information from? Like, do you?
Yeah, well, to be honest, it's again the power of people. Mate. Like we had Chris Cochran on here, who Harv kind of found, remote sales closer, weapon of a bloke. Awesome time with him and his partner Shani. Mate, who do you know we should get on the pod? Oh, Ben Handler, legend of a guy. I mean, you kind of knew his videos and I called messages. Buyer's agent, started Buyer's Agency Institute. Another incredible top person. When I met him to speak about a few things, and he said, oh, boy, speak to Josh. He's my AI guy. And it's just the power of just that next step and next connection. And I always reflect on why we managed to get so lucky with these people. And I think it's just because we are likable, which is important. But I think people see us having a massive fucking crack.
Yeah.
And they know whatever time they invest into us or whatever connection they make, we're going to absolutely make the most of every single drop and probably make that person look good for referring us too.
Yeah.
We did a video call with Josh, and I was like, where are you based? He's like, oh, Cronulla down in Sydney. I was like, okay, when have you got 2 days for me and Ads to fly down and sit with you for 2 days? And he kind of laughed it off. I was like, no, mate. I was like, when we go, we fucking go. I was like, so strap in. We're coming so down.
Good. But that's it. Like you take action and people see it.
Yeah.
And then it breathes more and more action and all that sort of stuff as well. But it all kind of, like you said, the connection thing is wild, isn't it?
Oh, man, like that butterfly effect, eh?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's what that is.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, 100%. Like I think that, these little tiny things. And I was even listening to I love Michael Singer. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. He's got a book, The Surrender Experiment, and a couple of others. He's a spiritual sort of guy, but he talks like he's all like science backed from it, like talks about quantum physics and all that sort of stuff. And I was listening to it again last night. I love this part of it. And I was tapping, I had my mouth tape on, so I was tapping Teagues like, I can listen to this bit.
No, you got
Teagues had me tied up. Anyway.
That's authenticity, guys.
That's when she made this. But he talks about like how everything that's happened in the world, going back like 3 billion years ago to the Big Bang, has led to like this moment right here, right now. And if one thing else was out, this wouldn't be happening right now. So, which is why, like, so he talks about like if this dinosaur in Florida, stamped its foot into the ground, and then it rained 10 minutes after that, which, and then it kept on raining, and then it, that created a lake basically, and then from there, a village was sort of set up from there years on. Then your great grandma and grandfather ran into each other at a saloon, and then like it goes back massively, and like to get right here.
Doesn't that just excite the fuck out of you?
Like, that's just like every moment is like you should be going, holy shit, like wow, like this is fucking incredible that we're all here now, and like and it all like we've got no control of it. Like it's all, and that's what he's talks about surrender. Like it's just about relaxing into this because we've got no control of it. It's like everything's led to where we are now, and it's wild.
Just trust the world, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's what like I love with your podcast and what you just said then. Like every little connection that you've made has led you along your path. Like if you didn't meet that Ben Handler, he didn't mention Josh, like we wouldn't be talking about AI now, and your business won't be where it's going to be in 2 years' time because of it.
It's just incredible.
Like even you go even further back. Like I think if we didn't spend our first $17,000 of revenue into this business on a Swish boot camp, we'd have never been at the Swish boot camp where I first clocked Chris, and then from there saw him on Instagram and recognised him. Like it's.
And if we wanted, mate, if we weren't sat next to each other in a change room, and we're 14 out of 100 kids, 5 changing rooms.
100%.
You know, like what?
And your parents all had to be the same place to do all that. Like,
hell.
So I love that. I'll share the book with you after. Anyway, you love it.
Yeah.
We touch on this a fair bit, and this is so important for the AI side of it. We're not trying to replace ourselves with AI at Harwell. We're not trying to go, great, we can just put the feed up and then you think you're talking to Adam, but you're speaking to an AI agent, right? The idea is we're going to get rid of all of the manual, admin-y, slow, repetitive tasks that are done in the business, which might take up 50% of the time, and then reinvest that 50% to shake more hands, speak to more people, do more content, be more visible. And then that's then going to flow on effect for more impact, more revenue, more results, whatever it is. And then we can kind of keep growing and scaling from there. I think the people who lose talking about the future of recruitment are the lazy ones who just want to do their job for them rather than give them more time to do the real high revenue generating tasks that light them up.
Yeah, exactly. No, and you guys, you'll be one of those, an early adopter basically of it. Like, and that's what you do. There'd be, I guarantee a lot of people will listen to this and be like, holy shit, I haven't even used ChatGPT.
Yeah.
It's sort of too late nearly already. Unless you guys are going to open it up and help educate everyone else and, train everyone else.
I think like we're even creating, like I started creating a GPT of myself. So that's all scary. Of my knowledge, I know.
He's a twat.
How much of the day is it on? That's what I want.
He's got loads of hair. But I pump in all of my recruitment knowledge, all of the placements I do, the sort of jobs I work on, everything, my SOPs, all into this GPT. So the concept is, if I'm not in the office, Katie and Alana can ask that Harvey GPT questions and they no longer need me and it doesn't stall them in their day and they can carry on. So even simple things like that.
What do you do then? Do you build that out for the team to be doing that of themselves as well? So then that they're not becoming like a replica of, or do you know what I'm asking? Like they're not leaning on you for all the answers all the time?
Yeah, so at the moment, the steps are we need to create our own one, super detailed. Obviously, it's only as good as the input you put into it.
Yeah.
And then we can actually share that with the guys. So when they go on, they can click on Harvey GPT, Adam GPT, and they get different answers. Like personality-wise, if they wanted a bit of soft love and a bit of, arm around the shoulder, they'd probably speak to Harvey GPT. And if they just want a direct answer, bang, do this, they kind of come to me.
Yeah.
And then I guess the next plan after that would be then help them build their second brain is kind of the terminology that's used in the AI world.
Yeah.
What are my blind spots? What have I not considered? If I'm feeling down that day and my brain's not really firing in a creative way, the second brain doesn't have bad days, right? It's going to be your creative self all the time.
Fucking frightening, isn't it?
Well, even I was talking to an insurance broker, big international one as well, and they've built out their just about to launch it now, like for people when they're going through and doing renewals, claims, all that sort of jazz, like everything will be in there. So it's just this beast of a machine that, it'll sort of make a lot of roles redundant in that sense as well, because they won't have to think about it. Where that in that insurance game, it's all about knowing your policy back to front, knowing, what can and can't be claimed, how to work it and stuff like that too. But yeah, even for our business, we've got something called our Hunty Bible, which I'll share with you guys after too. It's literally been, like, even when I showed it to Ross Glenn a couple of years ago, he's like, wow, mate, this is like a next level sort of document too. He's like, you can near package that up and sell it off.
Okay.
And it's literally anything and everything that was in my head and Katie's head that we got out on paper. But now putting that into like you said, a GBT and creating that so anyone can go to, and that's where you can probably go with, like you said, that individual one, but a more Hartwell based when you combine yours and Adam's, yours and Harvey, sorry, into that one thing, then they're punching it into there and they know the Hartwell way.
Yeah.
It's like, bang, this is the Hartwell way of how we would go about that problem, or this objection comes up or whatever.
Can answer it.
The big thing with this, it's just a leveler as well, right? Back in 10 years ago when you started your agency, it would have been way harder than it is today with all the people like Recruiter, the general access to tools and tech and getting things set up. What this is going to do when you can get kind of a tech stack that is kind of readily available in recruitment, which there already is, but this will be a level above, is if you are Joe Blow, who's an accountant and you want to go and start a business recruiting accountants, no longer that scary. You've got the stuff that's really hard to train, which is the technical knowledge, the qualification, the network, to learn then recruitment and plug in and play to this AI agent with all the processes and systems there. You've taken out so much of the lead time from first day to revenue. You've taken out so much of the unaccess to coaches or to people who 100%. Know what they're doing as well.
Yeah.
It's just such a leveler. And this is where the big agencies, I think, again, I'm not in the boardrooms, right? But they should be shitting their pants because it's so easy now to get your start. You haven't got to pray that, a big corporate gives you a chance and puts you in the associate program for fuck all money and runs you through. You can self-teach and educate yourself and you can be up and running so fast.
100%. Well, I think that's the thing when Recruiter still first came out there. I remember like watching its sort of journey the first couple of years when you guys came in. And a part of me was like, I had this fucking like anger towards it or something. And I was like, what? I had to like unpack it. I was like, why is this pissing me off? Like, and again, I'm happy to share. I said it to you guys before anyway, but a lot of it was, I think, because I did have to go through that grind of like, everything was to myself. Like I remember fucking buying a book. It was funny. We got like Maisie, my little girl, like a little Kindle for her birthday the other day. And in it came like this Italian for Dummies book. And she's like, what's the dummies book like? And I was like, there's like small business for dummies and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, fuck, I bought that book. Back, whenever that was.
Little yellow one,
but you know what I mean? Like that's what I had to go through it all and just, it was all like self-taught, self-coach. There was nothing out there. There was like a, Ross Clenner blog or a Greg Savage blog.
And that was it.
Pretty well it, man, at that time. Like when I was first doing, like I was talking to Teagues about it last night. When I was telling her about coming on here, and she's like, what's changed from when you started to then? And I was like, shit, like everything. Even we used to, there was a book, we'd have like a big A3 book, and we'd get the local paper on a Saturday, like the classifieds that would put the job ads in there. It's wild. And you'd cut them out, and that would be your ad chasing. So you'd put them into the I wish I kept it. It was gold.
That for
but do you know what I mean?
thousands.
Like that sort of shit. And then that's how you'd be calling them or emailing them from there because it always had email, That was how you'd do it. There was really no LinkedIn. it was like CCADs and that was it, and your own network database and referrals and stuff. But yeah, no, back to that. Like it was more this thing of like, I was just angry, going, fuck, like I wish there was something like that. To be honest, like when I was going through it, I would have stuck my hand up straight away. But then on the other hand, like it makes it easy for anyone to go out there and get into it. Or my biggest thing is like, it's not a fucking easy journey. Like, yeah, you can get the start and all that sort of stuff, but you still got to have that dog, like you said. You know what I mean? You got to have that in you to succeed in it. So, and that's I remember I've wrote like lots of posts around it before, but that first 2 years for me is it's still make or break. But I look back at them as like that was the honeymoon. Like they were the easy days. Like when I started to try and build out a team and have these things, and people push back all the time and multiple personalities, and he's like, you've got to like, well, me alone, I've got about 10. But do you know what I mean? Like you're dealing with all this sort of stuff as you grow, which is exciting too. And I think you guys have the right people around you and platforms and education and mindset to like push through and do that. But I don't know if a lot of other businesses are going to be able to push through that when they get to that point, and you're like, yeah, there's a lot to do. Again, it's AI and tech can take care of a lot of other stuff as well, but this is still a people focus. Everything's people. Yeah. No matter what, you cannot get away from it. So the EQ component as we grow, and again, like I said, tech's going to be huge, but if you don't have that emotional intelligence and be able to regulate your own emotions as a leader and become your own coach and all that sort of jazz, like you're just not going to cut it.
Yeah, and that's in any business, right? It's not even recruitment.
Oh yeah.
Look, we are heavy into this and we're not even halfway through. People are busy. People have got a lot to do in life. Dinner's got to be cooked. The kids have got to go to school. Let's call this part 1 and we'll check in next week for part 2.
Love it. Let's go.